I constantly always think of you as like the strongest person I've ever met. Like I think so highly of you because many moments before that, but like that moment, you giving birth to our children, to the two people I love like more than anything in this world, that you gave me, that was like the greatest gift. It, as a result, just completely changed our relationship in the most positive, beautiful way ever. That was an absolute game changer. Like just totally falling in love with you in a whole new way that I never even thought. And then you have this little baby and you're just like, oh my God. It all happened in our bedroom where we conceived this child. You know, it's like the most incredible experience ever, and nobody can take that away from you. You got this beautiful, healthy child. You did the research, you educated yourself, you brought me on board, and it's just the most magical God experience ever.
Welcome to Birth from Within, where inner wisdom meets grounded preparation. We're here to share raw, real birth stories and offer the insight and tools you need to move through the system with courage, clarity, and authority. You are made for this. Your body knows what to do. This podcast is the heart work of a nurse and a perinatal chiropractor, women who have walked our own birth journeys, and now we walk beside you. In each episode, we share practical tools, grounded wisdom, and deep reverence for your body's design. Let's return to the root, because birth doesn't start in a delivery room, birth starts from within. So great to have you guys back to talk about more things birth related with the male perspective. Growing up, being a nurse, different things of how birth is portrayed set it up for me to be a little bit scared of when I had a baby, that it would change how my husband saw me, that it would take away being able to be desirable. And so it felt like you have to guard this thing that is gonna make them be like grossed out by you, or it's repulsive. And so I remember having births in a hospital, or not myself, but like seeing them and stuff, and the verbiage around it was kind of like, I would never let my husband see that. He will be waist behind me, like, you know, you don't want to have that like spread eagle position and have a husband there. The other side of it is when we decided to have a home birth, some of my biggest fears were like, I've seen births where people poop. What if I poop? And just be like, we married 9 years, like barely even farted in front of each other. So I'm just like, definitely closed door bathroom. On our honeymoon, we had clear glass on the toilet, like so you could like see the silhouette. I could not poop for 9 days. It
was like frosted glass.
So you could like see it. I'm like, oh, mortified. So I had this very like this concept of what you have to be to remain enticing to your husband.
I didn't put that on her.
We're like completely innocent. Just something like overview culture and mindset. And in a culture where, like, I don't know if you've heard, like, the husband stitch still exists, where there's women that, whether they know it or not, it's like when they get stitched up, if they tear, they get an extra stitch. Maybe that's too vague. They're like, oh, you don't want to be not tight enough. And so even a reason to not have a vaginal birth of being so afraid of the effects after doing this.
Whoa. I never knew
a lot
that.
of stuff there. Yeah.
A lot. So from the men who went and watched your wives have birth, were a part of it and so involved. The question is how you were able to step into that role and into something that like we've talked about separate from you, of just how primal it is. And so as a woman, you have to step into this primal place to be able to do this, because it's almost animalistic at times and you have to just let go. How did you get to the place to kind of be comfortable and supportive instead of kind of like that toxic viewpoint of women?
So to me, I was like, when we're in the tub and you're birthing, there was a bunch of different things.
Where we're gonna fight. It was not. He cleaned it out later. Maybe not a bunch. Some things.
I mean, but like I only saw that for like a split second, and it was like, whoa. But like everything else, I think it goes back to the goal of like, do you want the healthiest baby possible? Yes. Okay, then I'm on board for whatever it takes to make that happen. And for us, it was, hey, we wanted to give the birthing tub a shot. And so when we went in there, I'm just like, this is awesome. Like I was all about it. And I was super curious too, like what is our first baby? And also we had to get an episiotomy. So I was a little nervous too about like what's happening here. It was taking longer than I thought. Our midwife, we did have some complications of when she was like showing up, and she was having a backup one come. And so there were just so many other things going on. But even without all of those, I think the bottom line is like, I want the healthiest baby possible. And if it comes with a little extra blood and poop or farts, like whatever, like let's go, let's make this happen. To me, that wasn't the biggest issue, but I have heard a lot of people say like, oh, that'll be gross. I never heard that the tight thing or like, oh, what? That just seems crazy.
You know, I don't think that's great perspective from you, because I never felt that way. I think that after my first one, because everybody saw me, it's like, well, like they're gonna see it all over again, and you know, so many doctors and nurses coming out, like you're like, hey, this is me. But I do remember when the doctor was like, "Oh, you tear a little bit. Do you want stitches?" He was like, "Yes, make it the same again." I don't. Do you remember?
I think I said something like that, but I've grown up and learned that has nothing to do with it. So funny how you can change that.
You were the one who was like, "Yes, give her stitches."
Give her some more, yeah. Let's be clear about this. That's an old wives' tale. The tightness of the vagina has to do with how much you excite your woman and how she's enjoying the act. Nothing to do with the baby making it loose.
I'm glad we dispelled this myth.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for me, I agree with you, Naz, that it's what do you want to, happen? Is it, do you want a healthy baby, or do you want to be concerned with the fact that she's a regular person, she's a human being, right? There's liquid in there. When the first, I remember vividly the first birth I saw, I mean, there was more liquid coming out than I thought possible. And it's like, oh my God, look at all this coming out. We were concerned about the pooping in the tub, right? And it happens. So what? We're all humans, you know what I mean?
Once you have the kids, you're gonna just a lot more poop coming.
A lot.
Get used to the poop.
I think that goes more to the maturity of the man. You know what I mean? There are a lot of grown men that are not mature, and there's even the women too. Maybe that they don't want to be seen that way, which I don't understand because I'm not a woman, but I can respect it. You want to be attractive to your man. You don't want them to see you like that, but you're having a human being, like you're having a baby together. Get over that. Get over yourselves, in a sense, both, right? And know that process is going to come with a little bit of the messiness, and that's okay. Because if you kind of take that away, you can really enjoy the beauty of the moment. I do remember vividly the baby, which she wishes I took a picture. I can still see the baby's head crowning and coming out with the umbilical cord in the way. Again, for a man, that's a little bit of a shocking sight to be like.
I think even for a woman, it's just a shocking.
That's possible. Wow, it got that big and it's coming out. Okay,
the head is going. Yeah.
But it's so amazing, also.
It's almost like, yes, watch them because it will help it be the miracle it is, and not just like, what is happening? Like you.
Yeah, watch one on TV. Watch a video. Watch something before your wife gives birth, just to get an idea of what's going to happen. Then it's not completely shocking. It's like, oh, okay. Like, I don't want to, but if we had a baby in the car, I would be prepared now. I could do it. I would understand what's going to happen.
It all goes back to education. Whatever birth you're choosing, make sure you're educating yourself. Man or woman.
And I think the conversation, like even you guys saying that, or the maturing of a man, which is crazy that it came through having kids. Some of your maturity did as well. Again, I worked in an OB setting, so I had seen and smelled a woman giving birth and also pooping. And so I was just like, so I just remember we would go on walks, and I had definitely fears around the birth. And I remember it was so hard to just be like, what if I poop? And just backstory, there is a story. He dated a girl in high school. And they were watching TV
how this
together.
Comes up on the
but it matters because it was in my head. And she was sitting. Do you want to tell the story? His girlfriend farted on the couch. And what does Mazari do? He gets up and leaves the house. And she says, Naz, no, don't leave. And he left. He did not come back. And I'm like, I get that you're young, but you just don't unhear that. And so you're like, this is a little more intense than that.
Like you said, it comes down to the maturity of the man.
Exactly. We change. It takes
Yeah.
a long time, but we do eventually grow up. A little bit.
I said, what if this happens? And in your such mature
Can
state.
I
And
share
he
some of your,
leaves.
can I share some of your high school story?
This is on topic, please. On topic. So you said this is an affirming story of you.
Oh.
You said, I said, what if this happens? And you said, what do you mean, what if? Like, you're gonna poop and it's okay. And then he told me a story of when he was a kid overflowing a toilet and being really embarrassed, and his dad had to come up and like step in his water with poop, and it was so disgusting. And he's like, he didn't think twice. And he's like, that's love. And I thought that was really beautiful. And you're just like, yeah.
So that
love is kind of the mess.
That is the perspective that I think the couple would do best with, to go into this type of situation, having a baby. Like it's love. We're gonna get through this. Let's look at what's gonna happen.
You're pushing a large something out of your bottom.
Yeah,
So
and watermelon.
unfortunately, sometimes.
But what good thing about you sharing that with him? Because imagine you going to birth with that fear. Like you wouldn't, like how would you push? If you're fearful,
Push, no!
It's not effective pushing if you don't also feel like you are.
Yeah.
And like you were saying,
Moving.
like to give justification to the guys for a lot of times, like the reason why this is a topic is because in that moment, like you've seen so many, all your senses are so stimulated. Like you're hearing noises you've never heard before, didn't even know were possible to come from you. Smells, visuals, like they're just the senses, everything. And so, yeah, I think it does come down to like you do the education and mature yourself. You know?
If not, the process will mature you.
Yes.
So I'm
absolutely.
curious. We've talked about guys' perspective of having a home birth, right? And I think we can all agree from the basis that a lot of men are like, we shouldn't do it. What if something happens? It's more of the fear or the responsibility of taking care of your family, your soon-to-be child, and your wife of like, no, I want doctors there to take care of her, to watch her. They know better than us, right?
Yeah.
That's the make sure they're safe part. What was the benefit in your mind of having a home birth? Because then there may be men out there that are curious or on this line of, no, I understand the safety part. If we have a doula, if we have a midwife, okay, the safety part's taken care of. But why would I want to do it? Like, what's the point? For you, what did you see as a benefit, as a positive for guys to be like, oh, I want to feel that. I want to go through that. I want to...
For me, the biggest incentive was whenever you go to the hospital system, you are hit with these bright lights. You are going to experience pain from wherever you're at. It's in an uncomfortable situation. You're surrounded by tons of people you've never seen before, you've never met before. In that pain, then they will inject you and they'll probe you, and they will want to intervene as much as possible, do a bunch of checkups on you. And then when you experience pain, they're like, oh, well, let's get some Pitocin. Oh, let's do the epidural. And everything just like spirals from there. Oh, next thing you know, we need a C-section. We need an emergency C-section. And then at the end, the hospital saved your baby. And so they're the ones that created the problem, and then they're taking credit for solving the problem. And they're, thank God, well, all the experts were there. That to me, like, I knew how the game was played. I understand the litigation part. I wanted nothing to do with it, but also being smart about surrounding ourselves with people that we knew, professionals that we knew, meeting with them beforehand, getting to know them on a personal level, building that trust so that whenever they came, we were surrounded by them. We had this amazing team, this amazing, just like, it was a spiritual experience to just have people that you trusted, that you knew, that you had met with before. Throughout the entire 9 months, God makes it 9 month for a reason. And I just feel like it's important to like start the second you find out, is to building that team and building that network of people that even if it's just the two of you, which is amazing as well, but finding a spot where you're just like, I know that trust goes so far during the birth experience. That safety, like, it's so much of the birth process. I also heard this, like, where I will sometimes struggle to go to poop at a stranger's house or in a public setting. And again, anything you can do to make that experience more comfortable. And that makes sense. You go to the hospital, you're hit with all these bright lights, everything I was saying before, and all the intervention, and then you immediately, your body like turns into adrenaline mode, it tightens up, and once I totally get that. Again, I've never delivered a baby, but totally understand how that entire system was created. And again, not knocking it, I get it, I just wanted nothing to do with that. And when we explored the home birth options, I was like, yes, This is absolutely, I'm so happy you did the initial like work on it. I'm 100% on board.
I feel like you were a good listener. So like I read a couple books and I feel like he didn't read the books with me because some of that was just for my own, like a lot of it was birth stories and different stuff to get me there. But I feel like you were such an active listener in that. So just even that you can regurgitate that story, I think is a really awesome thing of like how much you cared about what I was learning to step in and be a part of it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what you're talking about is in nature, animals, right? I think cats is a big example. If they're having babies and then feel threatened, they will stop and move. It stops their labor. And to think that we're different is silly. And so it's like when we go in a place and feel threatened, intervention or not, you're not gonna progress, like your labor is not gonna progress as they want it to be. Your body's so smart and it's working for you. And so it's like, setting yourself up in an environment where you're safe and at peace.
If you were already concerned about pooping in front of him, imagine pooping in front of people that you've never met.
I knew what would happen if I went into hospital. Like,
because like so much of it is like, it's, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, people can have births in a coma, right? They can, and so it's your body needs to get to this safe place for it to actually push the baby out. And when you like do everything you can, like in a hospital, like you're like completely setting yourself up against that.
Yeah. What about you?
Now, I've heard from people in the know that you don't want to trip on mushrooms outside of your house. You don't want to do that. It's, you want to be home. You want to be somewhere.
Is this really like telling a friend?
Yeah, a friend. Ask for a friend. So you don't want to do that outside of the house because you could have a really, really crazy trip. You want to be comfortable. You want to be home. You want to feel safe. Why would you not want to have a baby at home then too? Because you're pushing a baby out of your body.
So whether you're having a birth or taking shrooms.
Yeah, taking massive drugs.
Stay home.
Stay home. But like the fact of being home, the comfort of being home
So funny.
for your wife, for you, is amazing, right? You feel at ease. Selfish guy's perspective. If you want your snacks, if you want to drink, if you want to take a quick, take a 5, take a walk, you're home. Guys love being home. Yeah. You could throw on the game.
It's actually funny saying that.
Let's go.
You could be looking in this room. Your wife's okay. Looking in this room. The game's on the TV, and you could like be good. You don't have to ask someone, "Hey, do you have a TV? Do I have to pay for it?"
That's so funny.
But you're saying all that and you didn't watch any TV. You were like, babe, we're here. Like, you were with
or maybe
me.
like earlier labor.
But you could, and I love having the option. You could.
You knew where things were.
Yes. You could take a walk outside. You're comfortable at home.
Yeah.
It's opposite of going to a sterile white room where you're a stranger in a gown where your butt's showing and you're about to spread eagle for everyone in the room.
Yeah.
That's awkward as heck, right? You can have all your family there who you choose to have there. It just, the ease of it is so nice. Through luck, we did, and my wife's amazing job, we didn't have the longest births, right? Because you push and get it out. Right.
Well, I mean, I did.
Well, you did not to
Short compared with other people, yes.
Short compared with other
Painful.
people. Because
Yeah.
the point is, for us, it was quicker. So the home birth was more, again, like I said, ordering in takeout food where you're there that morning, the baby's in the belly, then a couple people show up, you put up a tube, it's beautiful water, everything's taken down, check the baby, they leave, and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
We have a new baby right here.
They clean everything.
That comfort of not having to be in the hospital for several days and all the checks and waiting on people. Oh yeah, I asked her to get the thing. Is she coming? I don't know. Let me check. Let me go get the towels or the medication or whatever. You're home. I feel it was more in the hospital. It's more putting it on the hospital staff and the hospital to give birth. And when you're home, it's more of a personal experience where it's you and your wife. It's your wife, obviously. Yeah. But it's a family affair. We had a baby, and it's right here. Like a water birth is special.
You know a little bit about consciousness and all this stuff. So the transition, right? Like from a warmth, caring, loving space versus bright lights,
cold
people that don't know,
very
cold,
sterile.
Like, what is that going to imprint
poked and
in that
prodded
baby?
And taken away and wrapped up. Yeah.
You're already setting your baby to think, to have a subconscious belief of, I need help. I need the exterior world to help me. I cannot do this by myself. So that too is a huge benefit that you can gift your babies into saying, we as giving birth vaginally, it's like we're already showing them we can do this. This is natural. This is normal. Like this is the way that we are created. Again, and then to have the husband on board with all of this, what are we already teaching our kids by making all these decisions?
And let's just throw this out there. I know it's another off-color perspective, but for people that don't have insurance, you have a baby in the hospital, you're paying tens and tens of thousands of dollars. You have a baby at home, you're paying $5, $7.
Yeah, exactly.
We've talked a little bit separately about like what we've gotten and learned about ourselves through having birth at home, but also just the way you want. What do you feel as a couple, both seeing your wife having given birth, but also doing the home experience? You guys have been through it 2 and 4 times, 3 times.
So, the second time, I think it was the second time, one of them, she gave birth, she holds the baby, and then she holds it and she gets up and she walks out of the pool with the baby and the cord's still hanging, and I'm just like, whoa, like, oh my God. Can you say beast? Like, what a strong woman. Like, oh my God.
Can you say
gave
beast?
Birth and she's holding the baby and she's walking out to go to the bed. I'm just like, I'm so impressed and like enamored, like, oh my God, to see you do that. I was like, can't you not even walk right away? It's just so primal, so beautiful, but so strong. I saw that. And the empowering part of having the baby at home, to see your wife do it when everyone's like, don't do that. This is a bad idea. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
And then she does it and she proves to herself that she can do it. I felt proud. Very, very proud.
After he told me, right, like, oh my God, well, I didn't feel that way. I felt like, okay, baby's out, I can go and rest in my bed. But even in the meanwhile, you're just like, oh my God, you're like with the baby in hand, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize this was like.
Didn't even pass the baby. You had it, and you just kind of one leg over and one. I'm just like.
Well, that first hour is very important. So it's like skin to skin, right?
Yeah.
A lot of adrenaline pumping at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like you're also just like,
Yes. Yeah. The worst part had already happened. I have my baby with me.
Naz, what do you think?
I remember we did a marathon together, and halfway through the marathon, I'm just like dragging. And she is like, are you good? Because I'm like ready to go. I'm like, no, please, honey, go. And she just crushed me. And anyway, so I knew that like you were like an absolute beast. I used the word tank before, been in trouble for both of those names. But seeing that, it completely changed our relationship. The fact that like you were this incredible badass, like forevermore, even in like right now, 4 years later, almost 5 years, I constantly always think of you as like the strongest person I've ever met. Like I think so highly of you because many moments before that, but like that moment, you giving birth to our children, to the two people I love like more than anything in this world, that you gave me, that was like the greatest gift. It, as a result, just completely changed our relationship in the most positive, beautiful way ever. And not that it was ever like in a bad spot, but it was like
sometimes.
That was an absolute game changer. Like just totally falling in love with you in a whole new way that I never even thought. And then you have this little baby and you're just like, oh my God. It just all happened in our bedroom where we conceived this child. You know, it's like the most incredible experience ever, and nobody can take that away from you. Like nobody can say like, oh, I made you do this, the drug. Not that even matters. Like they will say like, oh, it's not like you get an award for not getting an epidural. Like I hate that. Like, yeah, but you got this beautiful, healthy child. You did the research, you educated yourself, you brought me on board, and it's just the most magical God experience ever.
That was beautiful. I think unintentionally, by having a hospital birth, you take some of that away from the woman.
That's what I was going.
Unintentionally, where I felt what you were just saying there, that she did it, right? Like she gave birth.
Yeah.
She was the one with the baby and all that. And I'm sure there are men out there that when there's a hospital birth, they feel that for their woman. But I also know that there's a lot of them that see it as a group, that are like, thank you, doctor. Thank you, doctor. You did a great job, doctor. You did a great job. And you, you sewed her up, and you were the help, and you were there. And then they go to the wife and like, how you feeling? You good? You gonna make it? But when it's
Wow.
home and all those people are taken out of the picture, it's her. It's like, wow, you did this. You gave birth. You didn't need the doctor. You didn't need the anesthesia. You didn't need none of them. You did this. And it's like, it gives them full...
Yeah, that goes back to the
Love for that, yeah.
question, right? Like when I ask you, like, what would you tell the man to that is not on board with this? Like, look at that. Like, if you could feel what I felt when you were describing that, that's a new perspective that I've never heard that from a man perspective, talking about birth.
Yeah.
So like, look at, like you're saying, the love grew, like our connection. Like, why would you stop that?
Yeah.
If you know that your woman is fully capable of doing that.
And to that,
Absolutely.
we had a friend that was preparing for natural birth, and I remember she was doing all this work, and probably close to her delivery, I remember her just going to her husband and being like, do you think I can do this? He's like, absolutely, I know you can. But I think that is not, like, we don't always say things enough. So I think the power you guys have to your partner is so underrated, that belief. And I do feel like you stepped alongside me the whole time of, like, there was never a doubt. Like, I didn't have, even though I was afraid, you were a safe place to always be like, this is something I'm afraid of, and we could just talk about it instead of being like, oh yeah, that's, you just let it be a safe place, and then we kind of went and tackled it, or just let that not be held inside. But I also got to carry that belief that you're like, you're gonna do this. Like, you don't have to be afraid. Because it's like, what if I die? What if our baby dies? What's it? Like, all these things. And we just got to, like, sit in that and then move forward. But I think my friend just, like, not, you're second guessing yourself and uncertain. And then her husband got to come and be like her to hear, of course. As a man, you have so much power to help your woman step up and, like, believe in herself too. And the more you can believe in her, it's gonna build on that.
You don't need any doctor or anybody to tell you, but
Yes.
how much powerful is that the man that you chose is like, yes, you can do it. Yeah.
It's sad that, like, what you said initially was that whenever you bring up or you hear the phrase, I wanted to do a home birth, but my husband wasn't really for it. Well, probably if you rewind that and you live in that moment, it's the wife what woman is like, yes, I know for certain home birth is the path for me, 10 times better than hospital. There's always going to be questioning, right? And so when she presents that, even if she is confident, she puts that on the table, and the husband, if he didn't educate himself, he's going to be like, oh yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. And immediately that, like, 10% of doubt that she had now grows to, like, 50, 60%, and then trumps it, and then they ended up in the hospital. And again, I think it comes down to the intervention. We were like, I don't want to paint the picture that going to the hospital is, like, the worst thing ever. But I think all that intervention, if you go in, like you said, with a plan, with doing the research, getting yourself educated, when that team of people come in, letting them know, like, hey, this is our plan, this is what we're going to do. We want as little intervention as possible. And then being prepared to answer those questions whenever they say why. It is a lot of work, but, like, get ready, you're dad.
Worth it, yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Prep yourself. Being a dad's a lot of work.
We obviously have experienced the benefits firsthand of being home, but you in the hospital, you're like, if you went rewound and so that's where we are, but you maybe knew a lot more about birth, to be a little less afraid, and you're, just the change of posture when you're assertive and sure that the man can also step in for his wife. So you're not the one being presented with decisions and paperwork and pokes where it's like, no, we said no cervical checks, or we said, like, no, because no is an answer, and it shouldn't always fall on the wife to be deciding things. I think the prep work will serve you whichever route you decide, and if home birth is not right, the husband still can step in, because there's so many decisions to make, and almost the battle is bigger in a hospital, which you experienced, where you're like, you were prepared once you had the baby, you were on it so that she could heal, and you also couldn't chase the baby around the hospital.
I feel very grateful of having his voice there. Yeah. Because with pain, with whatever I was, going on, who knows if I would have given in, whatever, sign whatever, it hurts, I just want to get over this. Yes. But he was like, no, we're not doing this.
You caught the spots that they highlighted in the wrong areas. It's amazing.
It was a pack of papers. It wasn't like 2 or 3. It was like an inch
Yeah, and even having this trends of, okay, 24 hours, we're leaving, let's go.
Right to the minute.
I didn't want to go,
amazing.
obviously, you know, like I'm like resting, but
I was like,
but
get up,
still
we're
it's
leaving.
like,
Get
no,
up.
we're,
Come on.
and we used to live in a 3rd floor apartment.
So I had to
complex.
carry her up the whole way pretty much.
Carry?
Okay, you walked, but I was like kind of helping.
Oh,
You're like, I'm not supposed to do stairs for a week, but here we go.
She wanted to have a nice night of sleep. She's like, I'm getting tired. It's like, get up, come on, we're out. They said we can leave, we're out. We are 4 educated adults here. We know that there are risks and rewards to both situations.
Yeah.
It's not a blanket, okay, if you do a home birth, everything's going to be safe. That's not true. But you could at least look at the two and say, okay, what's possible in both?
Yeah.
Because yes, things can go sideways in the hospital as well. It's not a guarantee that it's going to be great just because you're there. And there are a lot of other detrimental things that can and do happen in a hospital birth that do not happen in a home birth. So what's the benefit of choosing to be home? And I love what you said about empowering the moment. That we're talking about a home birth choice here, overstepping the fact that the woman's already crazy, freaked out, scared. She's about to have a baby. For women that have done that for the first time, or they remember the first time and they don't want to do it again, you know. I mean, they're scared. The community's making them scared. The doctor's making them scared. The family's making them scared. They're making their own, scared. They have their own ups and downs about it. The last thing they need is, what if they want to take a step and have a home birth and they're choosing to take that strong step for their family and for themselves, and then the husband isn't able to support them? I was like, no, we don't want to do that. Don't do that for your wife. Take a moment and educate yourself of the benefit of what could possibly happen if I empower my wife and myself that we can do this. What are the benefits of, like, you know what? I know you're scared. We can do this. Let's have a home birth. You're choosing to do it for the loving benefit, for the self-empowering moment of it.
Yep.
So support her and say, yes, we'll check all the boxes. We'll make sure you're safe. But let's do this for us, for our family, because it is. Doing it a couple times, it's an incredible, incredible life-changing moment. I think the male's perspective, like I said, Nas, to say, yes, no, you can do this. We can do this. It means a lot.
The information provided in this podcast is not medical advice. It is anecdotal and for general knowledge and informational purposes only. It is not intended to substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have. The use of this information is at your own risk.